Right, you birds, let's prepare to proceed with the preliminary proceedings. Today, we are going to, just some housekeeping, we're going to take a basic beginner kind of look at this. In microprint at the bottom, in 10-point font, it says 960 Behringer, and it is a sequential controller, and it's a copy, sort of something that was introduced in the 1960s as a Moog module. So prepare to begin here. Now, the first thing I was confused about with this product is that I couldn't tell how wide it was, how long it was, what the dimensions were. 56 HP. Well, let's just figure it out, because this is the only real way. And it's 11 and change, so 11 and an eighth. For future reference, should we ever wish to figure this out without going online and, screwing around, is that we can, sure enough, divide any HP by 5 and come out with a practical number. So the other thing is that you can just barely get your finger in there between these things. So the physicality of it all is a little weird, but that being said, these knobs, these are perfectly tensioned. Each one of them is absolutely perfect. You couldn't ask for a better construction than this. So 11 and change if you're trying to build your own little wooden rack. Now these are part of a CD case. I'll have to show you what a CD is, because I'm sure nobody alive today knows anything about this. Here's a CD. Here's what they look like. And they fit into this little thing, and they didn't slop around that way, and you could keep them well organized. People who were organizers could anyway, by nature, So what you've got here is these little knobs, and you can see that if you put it up to roughly 12 o'clock, you have half of what you've got at 2. These are the outputs. And at 1 times here, you've got a total of 2 volts, which is 2 octaves in the 1 volt per octave system, which this subscribes to. And when you click, I've just got this output here, and we've stalled the step advance on this one little control here. So it's playing a note, and I've turned it all the way down. So this is the lowest voltage, and this is all right. There's 1 volt, which is an octave in this system. And you can see that that incremental hash mark is more or less lined up with this 12 o'clock position, and that we do have, in fact, 1 volt DC. And if we keep going on this, we should see this increase by a wee bit. And if you stopped it on each one of these hash marks, you would get a significant figure. Now, this is my $9 meter, so it's probably not super duper accurate. Plus, this isn't plugged into anything, so but there's 2 volts at the full excursion down to the very end there, and change. And again, that's probably because this isn't plugged into anything. Now, you can see that this is on the 1 time scale. If we move that up, this should change, and now it's 4 volts. And if we go, that's twice as much, obviously. And if we go up to 4, we should get, yes, 8 volts, 7.99, blah, blah, blah. So you can see that that's how each one of these steps is intended to work. And, and if you were to plug this output into an oscillator, you wouldn't even be able to hear it, because this would be so high. Even if your root note, which is all the way down here, and this is something I did not understand, that's the lowest note that your external oscillator is going to be able to play. You can't go any lower than that. You can retune the oscillator and go down some more, whatever pitch the oscillator makes is going to be some kind of increase, a multiple, if you like, of this. And that, kind of explanation would involve the volt per octave scale system, the Western musical scale system, etc. A vast and largely uninteresting topic. The other thing to understand is that this is our row of switches, which are going to happen one step at a time. Each 1 through 8 are steps. But this column of 3 buttons, these outputs, they all fire at the same time. Step number 6, these 3 steps all go at the same time. So we can tune these individually. So this is how you make a 3-note chord out of it. Here's your root note. If you dial it all the way to the left, if you dial it all the way to 12 o'clock on the next one, that'd be an octave higher. And here would be some a step in between, a second, a third, a fifth, a fourth, etc. You could make any musical chord you wanted. So it would play, an A chord, a D chord, and an E chord. You could play Gloria using these 3 steps kind of thing. Now, the whole idea is that you tune your oscillator first. Now, this thing doesn't make any racket on its own. You can force it into making it a tone, but it usually doesn't do that. Now then, I've got the MPC here. We're going to monitor through that. And we've got this out, and I've got that turned all the way down. We're going to put this into the volt, the octave, and we should when I bring this up, whoops, I turn this down. Here's our volt per octave. Now I've got this that sounds a little flat to me, but we'll look at the and it is. I'm looking at the MPC here. It's got a tuner built in. That's pretty close right there. So if we've got this thing, which kind of turns the 3rd row into a, some kind of ratchety deal. See if I turn this up. Oops, I've got to have that employed. So you can do that kind of thing with it. And we'll kill that for the moment. So that's basically the beginner's idea. From there, you can do quite a bit of different things with it. We've got this switch up here. So here's the switch, and this will let you do a number of things. It'll let you proceed for the first row and then start it in here. So you've got 8 times 3 is 24 individual steps. I'll turn that off so I don't forget. And you've got 2 outs, and I believe they're not inverted, so they're the same. You can send them to other means. You can use different kinds of input to. I've had some success with this QuickTime, and then other times it's failed utterly. So if you can see this, we've started it at 100, and I've just used the headphone output for this cheapie here. And if we can see that they're blinking in concert there. And if I bring this down, so it is possible to make this chase, you know, a fairly primitive thing like this that costs very little money. And I tried it using the app on a phone, you know, the metronome app on the phone, and it didn't have enough. And I think we're looking for positive 5 volts to make this little thing go here. And here's your input to start this. It's got some other outputs and inputs here, and I haven't really been able to use those as effectively, although I did manage to use the MPC to start the ratchet and to control it, its speed through the MPC Live too. So that could be another effort further down the line. And I did get some cool things to happen with the MPC. It only seems to work on the this section here. There's our main screen. Okay, it needs some MIDI notes to do this, and I think we can. They don't even need to be very loud, but there they go. This is a 2-bar loop, and I'm in here. Let's see if it does it in here. No. Now let's see if we can stop. Go back to the beginning. Oh, that's cool. Okay, let's stop right there and see that that's in. It's on step, what is that? Step 4, and here we're on bar 1, step 4, and we'll just hit play. And it does seem to stop right where it was. Now we'll stop again. Now I'll hit shift and stop, is it? Yeah, that brings us back to beat 1. Now let's see if it starts back at beat 1. If it chases. No. Okay, so to make it start back at beat 1 was shift and stopped to rewind the sequencer on the MPC, and then we move manually back to here. And now if we press play, oh wait, I pressed the wrong thing. It's working. Okay, let me figure this out. Okay, so I put it on step 4, and I've rewound the sequencer to 1, and I'm going to press play start, and this should start at number 1. And it doesn't. Okay, so that's fouled up. It's not chasing. Huh. Maybe there's something in preferences. We'll have to run that down. But you get the idea. You can do that, and I think it's only working because this is actually a MIDI thing. There's some MIDI notes there. What happens if you take some of these out? We'll start at the beginning by manually. Okay, it did stop. See, it stopped here and here. So you can kind of build a little pattern, I think, out of this. So it does respond to CV from the thing using this. Where's my viewer? Well, there's kind of a beginner's, you know, a few little things to know or not know about this. I'm really glad I got it. It's awesome. I wish I had another one. That's kind of the allure of all this.